Well, as the old year comes to a close, what do we have going on in the world around us? Well, we got a little lever spat going on over at Airport Terminal TV, formerly known as CNN. The homeless governor, that would be Gavin Newsom, who has championed issues like making sure people get to have the hairstyle of their choice, otherwise we're going to bring down the hammer of the law on businesses and schools that regulate people's hair. He's been warned by the president, you get your homeless crisis in that state under control, or I'm going to send the feds in to do it for you. And say it ain't so, Joe Biden refusing any subpoena that he may get to testify in a Senate impeachment trial. Oh yeah. It's going to be a good new year. Governor Gavin Newsom, California, a state which is plagued by, well, let's see, you have rolling electrical rates depending on the time of day. You could be charged more for using your electricity, between the hours of sunup and sunset, when most people are up, functioning, and working. Don't use any electricity, and certainly don't do things that make your work easier, like air conditioning, running computers, turning the light on. Just stop doing those things. And of course, California also has a rampant homeless problem. Now, I guess if you are a squatter, if you are a individual that doesn't want to work, has taken yourself out of the workforce, the viable workforce, based on addiction problems, therefore you're non-employable. If you're going to be homeless, I guess it's probably better to be homeless in a state where, not only is the temperature agreeable, because there's homeless people in Florida, although Florida seems to deal with the problem. Other states have homeless individuals, but the natural weather issues deal with the problem. But California, you've got the best or worst of both worlds colliding together. You've got a nice climate and a governor in a state which just gives the squatters, the homeless, anything and everything they want. What a great place to be homeless. Go ahead, sleep in a tent on the street, defecate and urinate in front of people coming in and out of restaurants. Leave your hypodermic needles strewn throughout the land. No one cares, because this is liberal utopia. Well, it is a huge problem. Has Governor Newsom dealt with it? No. What he has done is taken on really strong issues like hair.
This issue of hair is more significant than many people may think.
So over the Christmas holiday, President Donald Trump basically, emphatically stated, Mr. Governor, get this problem under control or I'm going to send the feds in to do it for you. Of course, this has gotten a liberal backlash. This has gotten a backlash from the governor who has declared his entire state a sanctuary state. So I want to ask you Californians, seriously, okay, maybe you do hate this president. Maybe you have bought into this entire liberal, socialistic, utopian, canard lie. Look around your state. Are you satisfied with what you see? Are you satisfied with the rampant homelessness? Are you loving paying exorbitant fees for everything? $5, $6 for a gallon of gas. You could pay as much as double your electric rate during peak hours of the day. And it goes on and on. And how are you in this predicament, this situation? A incredibly beautiful state, a state which no doubt has incredible natural resources which could be generating you some income, things like oil, but We know. We can't be raping the environment like that. We can't be doing fracking like that. We're just not going to do that. And yet you keep churning out these laws where you are going to just welcome the illegals in. They can do whatever they want, stay as long as they want. These are beautiful people, and we're going to give them a place to stay. And we're going to give them free education and free health care. And we're even going to let them have driver's licenses and vote. We are. And the people who actually live there legally are trying to work and pay the bills, have to pay the bills for all of this other idiocy. And I know, the orange guy, that no good President Trump, this is all his fault. Do you understand that if we ever divided this country in half and said, okay, everybody that's a libloon progressive and you hate Donald Trump, you move over here on the left side of the country. The rest of us will stay over here on the right side of the country. And we're going to build a wall. But that's okay. You don't like us anyway. Go ahead. You can have all the illegals. You can make all the drugs that you want legal. You can just have your socialist utopia over there. In fact, we'll even export AOC over to that side of the country. She can be your new leader. You can make a new constitution because that's what you're jonesing to do anyway. This one we got over here, why, it was written by a bunch of white guys who own slaves. You don't want our Constitution. You don't like any of our rights. In fact, you're trying to constantly strip them and take them away from us. So, hey, you guys go over here on the left side of the country and do your thing your way. We're going to build a wall to separate it because you don't want to come over here again anyway. My prediction is in less than a year, you will be begging to come over here because we'll have things like, well, food, jobs, money, stuff that works. Why? Because we work and we understand how to make stuff and we understand how to generate capital without having to rape the middle class constantly to get it. So I really thumbs up President Trump. Yes, Mr. Newsom, do more than just sport your Hollywood look and hairstyle and roll out just absolute patronizing legislation about, well, if people want to wear cornrows or have spiked hair, they can. And we're going to make it a law. While your state is bankrupt, you're crippling the middle class, and they are exiting your state in record numbers, and you're hell-bent on defying the law and providing sanctuary to a bunch of illegals. And now you don't know what to do with the homeless problem you directly created. Well, the president knows how to cure it, and trust me, I don't know that you want that. So you better get this figured out. We've got a little love spat going on at CNN. Brian Stelter, Humpty Dumpty, the guy that used to work for the New York Times, now is the media analyst for CNN and is just constantly lying. Soledad O'Brien, who at one time was an anchor at CNN, is now a news media executive. Well, they got themselves a little Twitter war over the New Year's Day weekend. Brian Stelter tweeted out, "We have this alternative media ecosystem that is driving a lot of disinformation. It's not really understood by journalists or anyone really beyond a very small group of people who are really engaged with it." Well, that prompted a response from Soledad O'Brien. Also, mainstream media outlets frequently book guests who lie intentionally on their air. CNN is one such outlet. Can you say Michael Avenatti when Brian Stelter pretends his own news organization isn't part of this BS? It's a problem. She's absolutely 100% correct in this respect. This idea of fake news was a creation of the mainstream media. They have been the perpetrators of being engaged in not news reporting, but merely propaganda spreading. In other words, they are the ones that for years, decades, got away with slighted news viewing, slighted news broadcasting, slighted skewing of how information would be presented to the masses. And social media has become the great equalizer. Now, I'm not saying that there are not people involved in social media that are not engaged in disinformation. Certainly there is. But what Brian Stelter is trying to do is discredit people like me, channels like this, where you and I go and get information, trying to make it sound like, oh, this is just a small group of people. This is, nobody really in the country gets any of this or is for any of this. No, this is an absolute lie and wishful thinking on Brian's part. His form of media, it's dying. It's literally on life support. It is going to go away. And no matter how much YouTube and Facebook and Twitter try to protect outlets like Airport Terminal TV, formerly known as CNN, as much as they try to protect them and get rid of us, purge us, YouTube is only birthing, number one, competition. There are other channels now popping up that want to replace YouTube, and one of them is going to. A couple of them are going to. It's going to happen now. And YouTube, all they have done is not get us back under control where we need to be, simply just posting videos either about look at my art project that I just made and hung on my bedroom wall, and I'm going to teach you in this video how to make one too. No. No. What they're doing now is simply breeding the ideas and the ingenuity of inventors in this country to come up with even more social media platforms that will ultimately leave YouTube in the dustbin of history. Can you say MySpace? So this revolution has started. It's not going to stop. And, all I can say to outlets like YouTube is you can either be part of it, or we understand how you got to where you are. We understand the arrangements you've made with the intel community and the deep state to be launched the way you've been launched and protected the way you've been protected. But it's not going to last. The real reason you people hate this president so much is he really is bringing down the swamp, and he is blowing up this entire old system, this old way of doing things. And the so-called mainstream media are the biggest promoters and propagators, not of news, not of information, but propaganda. They've been exposed, and now even some of their own are stepping forward and saying, yes, it's true. But we already knew that.
How dare you?
Joe Biden has again said on the campaign trail he is not going to comply with any Senate subpoena to appear and give any type of testimony. Now, some liberal pundits are trying to spin this, well, if the president can claim that, so can Joe Biden. Well, that's one of the things that supposedly the president is being impeached for. Obstruction of Congress, which there really is no such thing. It's a weak, lame argument. And he has the executive power to invoke that. Only a court can override the presidential command to his team. No, you're not going to go testify before Congress. A judge can step in and say otherwise, but the Democrats never went that route. They just immediately filed articles of impeachment. He's obstructing us. Well, he can, you dimwits. But that's another story. So now Joe Biden's doing it. Of course, the liberals are giving him cover, saying, well, if Donald Trump can do it, he can do it too. But that's the reason you want to so-called impeach Donald Trump. No, Biden's doing it because there's more investigations now into Hunter Biden. And somebody noticed that his wife is missing from the family Christmas photo, which appeared on social media over the holiday. So there's definitely trouble in Camp Biden, and I am sure that Biden is beside himself that, again, the deep state is not doing its job in covering for him. This should have never been exposed, and he should have been given just carte blanche, and nobody's buying anymore this has been looked into, and there's nothing to it. There was no Biden interfering in Ukraine and putting pressure. That one had nothing to do with the other. His withholding of the $1 billion had nothing to do with his son. Nobody, even on the left, actually believes that. So you can say, bye, 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 Joe Biden, dead campaign, walking. And it will be interesting to see if finally some of these people, like the Bidens, actually are really held accountable in other places than just here, but actually held accountable in a courtroom and ultimately in a jail cell. Hey, that's it for my rant of the day. Hope you're having a great holiday. I'm very busy right now with family and friends who are in from out of town, and so my apologies that my videos are not coming with the same frequency. We'll get that all back to normal after the New Year's holiday, but I want to wish you and yours a very happy and prosperous New Year, and remember, Trump 2020 and beyond. Hey, give us a thumbs up, like this video, share it everywhere that you can. Let's keep building our subscriptions here. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel and smack the bell for notification of my next rant.